What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about the Game Awards 2023. Now, look, I want to start this off by saying we're just talking about the intricacies of the nominations, the nominees, the winners, that whole mentality, not about the announcements or reveals, because as we're going to talk about as this video goes on, I care about 0% about the nominees and the winners and the losers, and we've talked about that before, but I want to put it in a video here. But I do care about the announcements, about the world reveals. Jeff loves to have those world exclusive reveals. They are the greatest, and the Game Awards time is a really exciting time in the industry for people. I mean, I guess I'm in it, but I'm also kind of outside it, right? Not like the group that they have going on there, but I do enjoy it. I really do like it. But I want to talk about a couple of the snubs that were going, happen, I guess, today. Hogwarts Legacy is one that I've been, contacted by many people to talk about, give my, thoughts on it. But I actually have one that I think is a much bigger snub than Hogwarts Legacy is. Because Hogwarts Legacy, I think, is easily explainable. But then I want to talk about the overall mentality of the Game Awards, which I think is very important for a lot of people to, at least hear me out. You can do whatever you want based off what you hear. All right, so Hogwarts Legacy, let's just address that real fast. Not surprising, literally at all. Like, I wasn't on Twitter, when it dropped, but I got, a couple messages, a couple, notifications, whatever, that said, Hogwarts Legacy wasn't, none of them. And I said, that doesn't surprise me literally at all. I do think there were actually some people kind of surprised, and they probably shouldn't have been. On Friday, we did a live stream where Sway and I did our predictions for what Jeff and the board would do for these nominees. And I think I had Hogwarts Legacy on one or two things. And I do think it deserved those one or two things. But here's my controversial opinion, okay? Let me say two different things. Number one, the easy, explainable reason is the politics, okay? If you thought that these journalists that spent years, but primarily the beginning of 2023, end of 2022, trying to destroy Hogwarts Legacy, trying to destroy the fandom, attacking people like me. There was all sorts of stuff that literally happened directly to me in terms of journalists not doing their jobs right. There was a lot of garbage that happened, right? If you thought that those geniuses were gonna put Hogwarts Legacy anywhere on the nominations, you're the fault here, not them. Because no, honestly, okay, just kidding. They weren't gonna do it. Why would they ever bring that back up, right? Literally why? They hate it. Even if you say it's your game of the year, you say you like it for whatever, they hate it, okay? They don't want, and I think even more specifically, they do not want to bring that stuff up again. They don't want it even to be there. They don't want its name there, because then it just kind of resurfaces all of the truly garbage, material that we had talked about leading into it, okay? That's completely honest. That is the reason it's not there. Now, my controversial opinion would be, I don't think it actually would deserve that many awards. I do think, and like I said, you can go back on Friday, I do think it should win, or at least should be in consideration for a couple things. The tough thing is, the literal categories are kind of weird, and I think they've always been weird. If you actually look, there's not a best setting, and I mentioned this on the live stream on Friday. There's no best setting. There's best direction, but which is more artistic approach, not necessarily the location. I used to do Game Awards on my own. I used to write down the categories on a piece of paper. Best setting is a classic one. For whatever reason, they don't have it. I think it should honestly maybe win best setting. I really think Hogwarts Castle is, a highlight, I guess, right? Something that is truly elite that they did in 2023, across the gaming industry, okay? So I don't know what that would be in the awards, right? What it would actually get. The other one would be combat. So I guess maybe RPG. There was the RPG category that it wasn't on. I feel like it maybe should have been there. That really goes into this other part of this video that I'm trying to not get into too fast. But again, why isn't it there? Well, they hate it, so they're not going to bring it up. And number two, controversially, besides a few things, it really, I don't think, stood out in any other major way. We've talked about the main strengths of Hogwarts Legacy, and I don't know, I think there's better games for Game of the Year than Hogwarts Legacy. That's just my opinion. However, that does lead directly into something else, which is not caring. But let me hold that. Let me hold the idea that you don't have to care what I think. You don't have to care what they think. I think that's very powerful, but just hold on to that, because I actually just want to let something out real fast. The biggest snub that happened today is the fact that Alan Wake, and here's why. Alan Wake was not nominated, or the actors that played him, Matthew and Ilka, they were not nominated for Best Performance. Instead, Saga was. Now, let me just say something really, really quickly. That is a joke. That is an absolute freaking joke. How could you have not? You literally went to Alan Wake 2 and you didn't nominate them. But here's the thing, okay? Again, two actual parts. Number one, I think the only reason that Alan Wake and the actors that played Alan Wake were not nominated is there's 2 for 1. And you're just not going to do that. Now, when I say 2 for 1, I'm not saying, well, 2 from the same game. No, I'm saying you imagine like the nominees and then even the winner, right? And I don't know if they've ever done this before. I don't remember it. Again, I don't really care enough to remember it. But if you put Alan Wake there, you'd have to have the voice actor and the live action actor both not competing against each other as one. They'd have to both be nominated together as Alan Wake. And then if they won, you'd be giving the award to 2 different people for the performance of the same person, right? I think that's very unique. I think that kind of like, in my opinion, I think he is the best performance of the year, maybe tied with Yuri of Spider-Man. But I think that's the reason. Okay, I really believe that's the reason, and I think that's kind of what's holding it back. But to just like kind of vent a little bit, like that's a freaking joke. That's an absolute joke that you didn't have him on there. But here's the thing, okay, part 2 to this video, it doesn't matter. It truly, I'm dead serious. You know, I try to have this mentality in life, and this is not like a life lesson to you guys. You do literally what you want, but in a way, I guess it is. Like, just don't care. Don't care about that stuff, and that's what I said, you know, in the beginning of the video. I'm watching for the world, you know, exclusives, the reveals, the, you know, things like that. Do I like to see people happy? Like, yeah, you know, there's emotion when people sometimes win, and like it's cool to see it, and like their speeches can sometimes be good, sometimes they're not very good, but you know, like it is cool. But to be honest with you, unless you're in that industry, the awards shouldn't matter literally at all. This is a panel of like gaming journalist elites that all, and I mean, that's literally what they are. They are handpicked across the industry. So obviously they have to be like elite in a way. And they're all formed into this one little group that probably like whisper in Jeff Keighley's ear, all this stuff. And they largely, now you're going to say, well, Alex, you can vote too. Yeah, they have like 85% of the power. So like, do you really have any power in these votes? Again, though, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. However, let me, you know, finish my thought. It, like, who cares what the random 6 employees from IGN and the 2 from Kotaku and the 5 from Polygon, and they're all put together in this panel, and they all vote on who wins best art design? You really think that matters? It doesn't. It only matters to the people that win it. Maybe it matters to who loses it, but I would hopefully assume that they just kind of brush it off, okay? I hope that, like, you know, you use an example we talked about in this video. The Hogwarts Legacy team, I don't think they need me to say this. They shouldn't care literally at all. They should throw themselves a party, right? Because sales, the reception from the fans, who cares if you weren't nominated for best whatever? Like, I don't even know, right? Who cares? So hopefully the staff of Hogwarts Legacy, those developers, like, just don't take it. I honestly do believe when you get into that, your opinions change. Like, maybe if I was a programmer or whatever, maybe I would care a little bit more. But, you know, I've said the same thing about like Hollywood. And again, like, I'm trying not to make this like some lecturing, life lesson, but same thing with like Hollywood and like Oscars. It's like, do you go around like celebrating an actor's Oscar? Like, does that mean anything to you? Because here's ultimately what it is, and here's what I try to live by and what I've said on the channel, and I apply it to the Game Awards. Your game of the year is your game of the year. Who cares what their game of the year is? If Hogwarts Legacy is yours and it's not even nominated, well, what does that change? That's going to change your mind. If that changes your mind, then you weren't very strong, kind of willed enough in the first place. And that's not a slight against like you, literally the viewer. That's just, like, be yourself. And like, if you think Resident Evil 4 is the best action adventure game, good for you. Like, if you think Hi-Fi Rush is this or that, good for, like, do you understand? Okay, like, that's honestly, and I mean, this happens every year. It really does. And I tried to like tweet it out yesterday, and I think it got good reception. I think I think the majority of like level-headed people are kind of all in the same spot. Have fun with it, you know, like joke, like, you know, I made the joke that like they deserve prison time. The people that voted deserve prison time for not nominating Alan Wake's actors, okay? But like, that's a joke, because I don't ultimately at the end of the day, like, does it make me upset? I think that's a laughably stupid, you know, decision. But like, I mean, I'm gonna think of Alan Wake too, how I want to think about it. If it wins or lose, you know, it's nominated 8 times. Baldur's Gate's nominated 8 times. If Baldur's Gate wins 6 out of 8 versus 7 out of 8, does your opinion change on Baldur's Gate? No, it shouldn't, because like, what does it matter? You know what? Again, these like people, what does it matter what they think? And more specifically, you know, exactly kind of who we're talking about. These are people that normally consumers kind of laugh at them generally. Like, these are people that probably give those memeable reviews that we see all the time. Not every, but exaggeration. But, you know, like, that's kind of the class that's voting on this stuff. And it's like, so if you don't care about their reviews day to day, why would you care about who wins best art design or best what? I don't know why I can only think of like best ongoing game. I mean, you're the one playing it. What does it matter who wins best ongoing game? You're the one playing the game. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't want to lecture too hard or too long, but for the people that, and I don't know, like, I have gotten people that seem pretty upset today at, like, what's there, what's not there. Relax, okay? Like, honestly, relax. Not in a slight against you, but don't freak out based off of them. They, like, again, like, the winners and losers, the only people that care are them themselves. Like, nobody else cares. In fact, controversial take, I'd argue 90%, and there's no way of probably knowing this, 90% I bet of the viewers of the Game Awards are not watching it for the awards. And I mean, you could tell me you are, that's fine, but I really actually don't even think there's many of my community that does that. I think most, even in my community or in the wider community, I think most are watching it for whatever because Jeff has built it up on, this is where we're going to show off the Wonder Womans of the world. This is where we're going to show off the Mass Effect. You know, he announced the Mass Effect game years back, right? Like, that's what happens here. So that's why people watch. If this show was only winners and losers of like an award thing, it would have, oh my God, it would have such a steep drop in viewership. It absolutely would. And I think it would deserve that, because people just don't care. Like, just do your awards then, like in your private, like nobody would want to watch it anyway. I don't know. I'm going to stop before I get myself into trouble. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.